Welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining me. It's May 31st, 2024. I don't know about you. I like a good thunderstorm in the evening when I go to sleep, but last night was a bit much. I don't know that I've ever seen hail that big. Pretty sure we saw some baseball size hail here in Denver. Nonetheless, it was super loud. It was very unpleasant for my cats, and I gotta say, I didn't really enjoy it either. But let's get into what happened this week, what the news is, starting as always with mortgage applications. Purchase applications down 1%. Refinances down 14%, but bear in mind with refinances, year over year, they're up 12%. So people are still very interested in refinancing, which I think speaks to some of the complications and difficulty they have with bills right now, just things being very expensive in general. Initial jobless claims, those filing for the first time, were up 3,000 and continuing claims up 4,000. So both in the positive there, showing a little higher up. But again, no extreme numbers at this point. This week, let's go into appreciation. Let me get you some slides here. We did get Case-Shiller for March of 2024, showing again up month over month, 0.3%, a little bit lower than the previous month, but still positive. And if you look at those year over year numbers, we are at 6.5% appreciation, which is really good. Historically, appreciation is normally around 4%, just over. So again, housing market is really strong. Nothing to suggest that housing appreciation, that we're in any type of bubble or that home values are going to go down. Also, today we got PCE, personal consumption expenditures. This is the Fed's favorite measure of inflation. What's interesting to note about this report, still seeing modest gains. Headline number up 0.3% month over month for April. The core up 2% month over month, but slowing down. Headline, if you look at our peak from headline numbers in 2022, we have made significant improvement. But again, Fed's target has always been this 2% number, and there's nothing really to suggest that we're actually going to hit that number anytime this year. And the tragedy behind that is if this is the Fed's focus and their gauge for when they start cutting short-term interest rates to help the consumer, this is not good for us because we're probably not going to see that number move to where they want it to be. If you look deeper within this report, the PCE report, you can see that the income was up 0.3% month over month, but previously it was at 0.5%. So we are seeing some slowing in income gains, and spending was at 0.2%. That was lower than the expectation of 0.3%. And if you compare it to the previous month, which was at 0.8%, definitely seeing some slowing in the spending for consumers. Now, also this week we got GDP, and I bring this up. This is the second reading for Q1. It was at 1.2%, which is down from the first reading of 1.6%. So we are seeing some slowing. And I bring this up because if the Feds are going to use that inflation number in the hopes that it'll get to 2% as their gauge, I think the only thing that's going to detract from that and maybe convince them otherwise that they need to do any cuts sooner are these type of numbers with GDP and the consumer spending and so forth. We also got CoreLogic performance for the month of April, and showing that 30-day lates are at 2.6%, down a little bit from 2.8%. So that's positive. But the 90-day lates actually ticked up from 0.9% to 1.1%. So that might be a little disconcerting there. No change again in foreclosure. So we're not seeing this market and this move into people going into foreclosure, which is really good. But I think these are the key indicators right now that we need to look for when it comes to whether the Feds will start doing short-term interest rate cuts. It'll be the unemployment numbers and spending and so forth with consumers. And if we see GDP slowing down, if they start focusing on those numbers, seeing the difficulty that consumers are having, maybe that will motivate them to start cuts sooner. But right now, we're maybe looking at one cut at the end of the year at this point. Who knows? Let's take a look at the MBS charts. Today we are up, which is good. It's been favorable to the modest PCE report. Yesterday was good to us as well. But as you can see, over the last 2 weeks, we did lose a lot of ground. So we are fighting to claw back up to where we were 2 weeks ago. You should expect your interest rates on a conventional loan, depending upon your parameters, to be around 7% still at this point. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. I do appreciate when you like my videos. Feel free to share them as you deem necessary. And I love to hear your comments, anything that you have to say about just things in general, maybe about the storm last night, any shattered windows at your house. But I'd love to hear what you have to say, what your thoughts and the information provided, and what your opinion on those matters are. Otherwise, have a great weekend, and I'll see you next week.